Welcome to Storytimer at Large. Regina Jane Pierce. Regina Jane Pierce was born on December 29, 1966. She lived in Monrovia, Indiana, on Rural Route 2, Box 44. She seems like a very typical student in the yearbook photos I found. She sang in the choir. She had the same early 80s hairstyle as her peers. She was only a few years older than me, so it's very easy to identify with her. It's very easy to sort of understand her in a way. On June 8, 1984, Regina Jane Pierce was found dead on the roadside of I-70 in Indiana. Interstate 70 runs through the central portion of the state, um, through Indianapolis and across east to west. She had been sexually assaulted and was only wearing a dress. She had been tied at the hands and feet. She had been dragged or carried about 80 feet off the road. She was shot multiple times in the head with a large caliber weapon. She was thought to be the victim of a serial killer trucker, and that makes some sense. She was right there on the side of the road near the Putnamville exit. But if you want to see classic victim blaming, the articles about Regina J. Pierce are textbook cases. In the newspapers, she is much disparaged. In one article, someone said she had been in Iowa working as an exotic dancer, but was on her way home. Her family had last heard from her 2 days before. And it seems like she almost made it home. Her family lived in Monrovia, Indiana. Yes, Monrovia was where she was headed. It makes sense that she was getting closer to home. It definitely could be a trucker. If it was a trucker, Regina's murder might be one in a long string of murders from coast to coast. Why was her body on the side of the road that leads away from Monrovia? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but my first instinct is that her body would be on the eastbound side of Interstate 70 going towards Monrovia. The sheriff said she ran away a couple of times in the past. Why was that? People don't often run away from wonderful and idyllic, loving homes. What if her home life was fine, but there was a teacher, pastor, boyfriend, uncle, or other predator who lived in close contact with her, or on the periphery who was up to no good here? Her mother, Linda Asher's maiden name was Pierce, according to Regina's death certificate. Does that mean Regina's mom was single when Regina was born, or what's going on? The father is listed as Herbert Asher. Is he also the informant for the death certificate? Oh, he is also the informant for the death certificate. Would he be Regina's stepfather then, Herbert Asher? It's not clear. There are plenty of examples of serial killers who drove trucks. Keith Hunter Jesperson was known as the Happy Face Killer. His first murder was thought to be 1990, and he was not a truck driver in 1984 yet, to my knowledge. We don't know that she was in a truck, though. I think that has just been assumed. She could have been in any vehicle. If her case had gotten big media attention at the time, there might have been people who could have provided more information. Perhaps someone who picked her up along the way could fill in information about her movements. Perhaps a gas station worker or a restaurant worker would have seen her and remembered who she was and had called in a tip. But there was no big media plea for tips. She was seen as a runaway and an exotic dancer who put herself in a risky situation by hitchhiking. She was just 17. Think about that. Maybe she was making some choices that were not especially safe for a teenager, but she didn't deserve to be murdered for any of these choices. She was 17 and had no car. Why did she go all the way to Iowa? Parents and the police and her parents thought she hitchhiked to Iowa. But why Iowa? Did she just end up catching a ride to there? Police spoke with the owner of the club in Iowa that Regina worked at as an exotic dancer. Except she only worked there a couple of days. She asked for an advance on her paycheck and disappeared. They thought she had caught a ride out of town, but then she almost made it home. Hopefully, there's evidence still stored somewhere. Someone tied her hands and feet. Did investigators save those bindings? Could they have the killer's DNA on them? Did she fight her killer? Did she scratch him? His DNA might be under her nails. Hopefully, they clipped and saved those nails. She was sexually assaulted. Hopefully, they saved the rape kit or her dress. DNA might be found there. There's always hope that a case can be solved. I just find it odd in this case that she was killed so close to home. Anything's possible, but I can't help thinking that she made it back to Monrovia and someone was not happy to see her back home. I also keep thinking about Cheryl Bolin, who was also from Monrovia. She disappeared in 1975, just a few years before this, and her body was found east of Monrovia too. Quite a bit further east, but not a terribly far away. You could drive it in an hour. Proximity and probability make me think that these two murders are related. Could the perpetrator of young Cheryl Bolin's murder be a local man? It would make sense, as Cheryl was taken off the side of a rural road with very little traffic. Could he later have been in Regina's life in some way? Maybe someone back then saw something. Maybe someone knows something, or they've heard something. Regina Jane Pierce was only 17. And I'm thinking, I wonder if someone was, molesting her, sexually abusing her as a child, grooming her when she was a child, and running away to become an exotic dancer might have been a sort of traumatic reenactment thing. Sometimes sexual assault victims, young victims who've been molested, will act out in ways that are sexual to get attention, because this is something that as a child was done to them, and traumatic reenactment kind of takes over. But Regina Jane Pierce was only 17. She deserved a long life. She did not deserve what happened to her. She deserved a life lived in peace and safety. She was brave and tough. She was trying to find her way in life. Rest in peace, Regina Jane Pierce. If you have information about Regina Jane Pierce, please call the Putnam County Sheriff's Office at 765-653-3211. I hope you'll consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. The more subscribers we get, the more shares, the more people who touch that thumbs up button. I like to think of it as thumbs up for justice. The more people who do that, the more chance these cases have of getting out and getting in front of the right person who might have a tip. So I appreciate it when you hit the thumbs up for justice, when you hit that curved arrow that allows you to share videos. You can touch that arrow, and then you can copy the link into a text message or into your own social media feed. And when you subscribe, you'll see each video as I finish it and post it. And you won't miss any of the cases. And thanks so much for watching. It means a lot, and I think that you and we can do a lot to help solve these cases. Rest in peace, Regina.